In a glass workshop, two workers were manually holding a heavy, thick glass panel in a vertical position when it began slipping from their grip. As one worker attempted to reposition for better control, they lost their ability to support the weight, and the massive glass pane fell, crushing one worker's head and the other worker's legs beneath it. This incident clearly demonstrates the catastrophic inadequacy of manual handling for large, heavy glass panels and the fatal consequences of improper material handling equipment. All large glass panels, sheets, and panes require mechanical handling equipment. Manual holding of heavy glass is completely inappropriate and inevitably fails. At a construction site, a worker walking on an elevated platform accidentally stepped off the edge and fell because a tarpaulin draped across the platform obscured the edge boundary, preventing him from seeing where the platform ended. This incident clearly demonstrates the critical dangers of visual obstructions on elevated work surfaces and inadequate fall protection at platform edges. All elevated work platforms, scaffolds, decks, and walkways require standard guardrails with top rails, mid rails, and toe boards on all open sides, preventing falls during normal work activities and providing visual/physical barriers defining platform edges. In a paper manufacturing facility, a supervisor was training a new employee on operating a large industrial lathe machine. During the demonstration, both approached the rotating mechanism with their hands extended. The new employee, unaware of the severe entanglement hazards, made contact with the rotating components and was immediately caught by the machinery, suffering catastrophic injuries before the equipment could be stopped. This incident clearly demonstrates the fatal consequences of inadequate safety training and failure to implement proper lockout procedures during instruction. Supervisors must never demonstrate machinery operation by reaching toward or touching moving parts, as new employees may imitate dangerous behaviors, not understanding the risks. In a publishing press facility, a worker reached into the printing press machinery to make an adjustment when his hand became caught in the mechanism. Fortunately, a co-worker witnessed the incident and immediately activated the emergency stop, halting the machine before severe injury occurred. He then called for additional assistance to help. This incident clearly demonstrates the dangers of reaching into operating machinery without proper lockout procedures and the life-saving value of accessible emergency stops and alerting co-workers. Machine guards must prevent hand access to pinch points, nip points, and rotating parts during operation, and interlocked guards should automatically stop equipment when opened. At a metal manufacturing facility, two workers were guiding an overhead crane transporting multiple tons of raw metal sheets when the crane's mechanical components catastrophically failed. The entire crane assembly fell from the ceiling, crashing to the floor below with the massive load. Fortunately, both workers were able to get out of the fall zone before being crushed. This incident clearly demonstrates catastrophic equipment failure and the critical importance of crane maintenance, load limit compliance, and worker positioning outside drop zones. Load capacity must never be exceeded, with operators consulting load charts and verifying actual weights before lifts. In a warehouse loading area, a worker attempted to manually pull a large boxed air conditioning unit from inside a cargo container. Using his full body weight to extract the unit when it cleared the container ledge, he lost control, and it fell. He attempted to catch it with his hands, but was struck and knocked unconscious. His supervisor witnessed the incident, but reacted with disturbing nonchalance rather than providing immediate assistance. This incident clearly demonstrates multiple failures, including improper material handling, attempting to catch falling objects, and an alarming lack of emergency response, indicating a broken safety culture. All heavy items, including appliances, must be unloaded using proper mechanical equipment. Manual pulling of heavy boxed units is inappropriate and can cause fatal injuries. At a construction site, a worker positioned himself atop a ladder that was itself placed on an elevated ledge, attempting to align a metal roof beam single-handedly. Without warning, the roof frame structure collapsed, narrowly missing his head. However, the beam he was holding fell and struck his ladder, causing both the worker and ladder to fall off the elevated ledge to the ground below. This incident clearly demonstrates multiple catastrophic safety violations, including unstable ladder placement, inadequate fall protection, solo work on structural components, and positioning on collapsing structures. Workers on ladders at heights require fall protection, including harnesses connected to independent anchor points, preventing falls if ladders fail or structures collapse. Outside a farm, a worker was securing tall grain bags in his truck bed when one bag suddenly tipped and fell to the ground, striking him in the back. The impact knocked him down and left him unable to stand back up. This incident clearly demonstrates the severe hazards of unstable stacked loads and the critical importance of proper securing procedures during loading operations. Tall bags have high centers of gravity, making them prone to tipping when disturbed or improperly positioned, and workers should never position themselves where falling bags could strike them. Even cloth or flexible bags filled with grain weigh hundreds of pounds, concentrating tremendous force, causing severe injuries when falling on workers. In a textile manufacturing facility, 2 workers were performing maintenance on a roller machine. One worker positioned her head close to the mechanism to inspect internal components when her co-worker, unaware of her proximity, activated the machine. The worker's hair was immediately caught in the rotating mechanism, and she was pulled into the machinery. The coworker did not know the location of the emergency stop controls to halt the equipment. This incident clearly demonstrates catastrophic failures in lockout procedures, communication protocols, and emergency response training. All machinery must be completely shut down before any maintenance or inspection work begins. Each worker must apply their own personal lock, ensuring equipment cannot restart until they personally remove it after completing work safely. In an automotive repair shop, a technician was performing welding operations beside a vehicle when sparks fell to the floor and ignited flammable materials or residues on the ground surface. The fire spread underneath the vehicle, and the worker attempted to save it by raising the car using the hydraulic lift to separate it from the flames below. This incident clearly demonstrates the critical fire hazards of hot work in automotive environments and inadequate fire prevention procedures. All welding, grinding, and hot work operations require hot work permits. Verifying flammable materials, liquids, and vapors have been removed from the work area, with fire-resistant barriers or blankets protecting adjacent surfaces and vehicles. At a sand quarry, a worker was walking through an open area, distracted and not paying attention, when a large excavator operating nearby began reversing. The excavator operator, unable to see the small profile worker in his blind zones, struck and ran over the pedestrian. The operator continued reversing and eventually left the site completely unaware that he had hit someone, leaving the injured worker lying on the ground. This incident clearly demonstrates catastrophic failures in visibility, traffic control, pedestrian awareness, and the dangers of both operator and worker inattention. Workers walking through active equipment areas must maintain constant situational awareness, make contact with operators before crossing paths, and understand that equipment operators cannot see them in blind zones.